All right, now you should have a decent understanding, or at least a beginning understanding, on how to load a combo box. You may be asking yourself, why are we doing this? Well, we're going to take a lot of time and learn how to apply these combo boxes, these dynamic combo boxes, to your database applications. There's several different reasons for them, and we'll cover those a little bit today in this video and also in future videos as we continue on with our discussion of database applications. In this particular video, then, what we're going to do is we are going to take it to another level, and we're going to utilize this combo box to actually select a student from the combo box, and based upon my selection of the student, okay, or whoever is selected, I'm going to go ahead and populate more information about the student. We'll start simple here. So what I actually mean by that is I will start this application, and what it's going to do is show me more information about the student. So Jones, based upon it being selected initially, right, it's going to show me information about Jones. If I come out here and select somebody else like Hernandez, here's more information about that. Not overly wow, but kind of neat, right? Very dynamic, very cool, based upon who I actually selected. And it only shows them. Isn't that cool? And so it kind of, in this case, I have it showing just their address and city and state. Cool? Now, how do we do it? Okay, let's look at our program one more time. Our form load stays the same, okay? I still loaded my combo box just how I showed you in the previous video. Once again, let's go back to these two pieces right here, I should say, where I'm loading the value member and the display member. Well, the display member you should now understand, because that's basically the last name. That's what the user actually sees. That's what we saw right there a second ago when we executed our program. However, this value member, my guess is people were a little bit confused on, again, what does that mean? Well, that value member, once again, is kind of hidden to the users. It's not kind of hidden, it is hidden to the users, but it's available to us as programmers. So what would we do with it? Well, what we're going to do with it is we're going to take that value member, which is the primary key, and actually do another call to the database based upon that. So in my example here, it took that value member, used it as in the where clause, and basically brought back the information I needed based upon that specific student. Does that make sense? If I go over to my database and actually look at this, okay, it's like this from right here, where I select first name, last name, address, city, state, city and state, from the students table, where the student ID equals 1, and that would be for James Jones. And so I'm calling the database based upon this where clause right here. And there you go. I want to emulate that now in my program. And not only emulate it, but change it every time they change the combo box. So how do we do that? Let's get back here and get down here. Okay. If I go back to my form, how I'm going to do this, I can do this a couple different ways based upon different events. I'm going to show you a new event. So every time they change it here, I want something to change. I want it to change. So I want to do something. It's a new event. So I'm going to double click on it, and the event that we're going to be doing is selected index change, which basically says every time I select something different in the list box, this event procedure is going to execute. Pretty cool? All right. What do I have in here? Well, I'm connected to my database, so I brought everything over that we've been doing up to this point. Nothing has really changed here. I do have a data table in here, but we're not going to use it. Okay. How I open my database has not changed, so nothing has really changed up to that point. So once again, cutting and pasting. So once you get it, that's what I mean. If you got things connected, we're on our way. Now you can just cut and paste and feel pretty comfortable you know how to do that. Here's where the magic happens. I'm now going to execute a query, and I'm going to, my string looks a little bit different, a little bit more sophisticated, right? Or a little bit longer, I should say. I don't know if sophisticated is the word. And what I'm going to do is take what I did right here, okay, this particular one, and I literally almost I did copy it over. I cut and pasted it over to my program here. And I put it within double quotes, and I made it on 2 lines, so it's a little bit more readable. The fact that I made it on 2 lines, I had to concatenate another piece of the string here, okay? I had a space here to make sure there's a space between the E and the F. If not, you'll get an error. And then finally, I'm concatenating what was selected from the combo box, the selected value, the value member. And what I have here, what's going to show up here is the primary key of that particular person, in this case, student. Kind of cool? Once I get that done, I execute it as normal. I read it. Okay, what my results set should just be one record, so I'm going to read one time. I don't need a loop here. I clearing out everything that was in the list box before, so if I do change things, I want to clear out the old one so we can put the new one in. And as you see, I'm adding my lines and all my information from the attributes, or the columns, I should say, from the result set. Pretty slick. So how's this work? Let's look at it. I come in here, and once again, there it is. Okay, and then if I change it, it's going to grab the ID from Hernandez and put that in there and call the database to do that. All right. What's kind of neat is that if you sit back and you get stuck sometimes and your select statement's not working, I highly recommend you do a couple different things. You could sit back and you could put a message box in here. Of course, you can always you can always debug it. But if you put a message box in here and you have str select, you can see what your actual select statement looks like it's going to be executed, especially when all the string stuff comes together. Let's look at it real fast. There it is, where it's equal to 1, because it's going to use, it defaults to Jones first, and so it goes from there. See what happens when I do Kim. Look at that. Now it hits equal to 4. See how that's working? So I now have a dynamic select statement within our code. Are you all getting goosebumps over this? I don't know. I am. Maybe I. All right. Kind of neat. Again, message boxes are kind of fun to add to your code, especially in this case, to make sure you're getting exactly what you think you should be getting. Okay. And obviously, I could have done a debug and stopped and actually hovered over the str select and seen the same thing. Sometimes message boxes are a little bit easier to read. All right. I'll keep that right there. All right. Pretty cool, right? All right. Let's take it to another level. Let's pump it up a little bit and see what sticks here for you. Wonder if I, instead of I can speak here, instead of just showing me more information about the student, their address, and so on, I want what in the results, the list result, I should say, the list box. I want the courses that the student's taken. Okay, let's pump it up here. How in the world can I get that information? So based upon me selecting the student, I want all the courses they have taken thus far. Okay, or that's in the database. Pretty cool. So let's get back to our database hat real fast. How can we possibly do this? Okay, I should have my schematic in front of me to show all this, but let's just say what I want in there is I want you to show me the courses they've taken and the name of the course, the course number, the course start date, and I want the instructor. Well, to make that happen in this simple database, I would have to do the students, the instructors, the courses, and the T students courses. I would have to literally join all those together. Students to T student courses, courses to T student courses, and then instructors to T courses, right? Because there's the foreign key sitting right there. Hopefully everybody's with me on that, all right? So how do I do that? Well, I would come down here, and in my little script here, I probably go ahead and write it, which I did. So I've taken this thing, wrote the whole thing, course number, course name, start date, first name, and last name, and I joined the tables together as I stated. And I'm going to do this for, I can't be dynamic in here, so I'm going to do it just for Jones. If I actually execute this, I see that it works. That's a great thing, so I don't have to worry about it now. And it actually says that Jones took .NET Programming and Math Calculus, okay? I can go make sure that's correct by looking up here, and I see that Jones is number 1, and there's a 1 and a 1 right there for the student ID. See it, 1 and 1, and they took 1 and 3. And 1 and 3 is .NET Programming and Calculus. So my query works. The next step in doing this is cutting this, okay, is did a control C. You guys probably didn't see that. So I actually did a cut, and or a copy, I should say. And I can take it over to my program here. and paste it in, okay? Now, this is going to get a little bit messy, and so I kind of do a couple things. Number one, I create it as a comment real fast. And so then I'm going to take the rest of this so I don't get all these red lines and cause me all kinds of confusion, and I'll comment it out. And then what I would do is I would take the time to go in and build this string up. What do I mean by that? Well, I would sit back and in my comments, I would go ahead and put str equals double quotes, and let's see, double quotes, and then concatenate. You see that there? Go to my next line. I go from my from statement. Boom, make sure there's a space there. Boom, and just keep on going all the way through. I do this in comments, and I'll uncomment it as soon as I'm done so I don't get a bunch of red lines and makes all my code look bad. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right, well, I did one already, so you don't have to watch me continue to do that. So here it is right here, okay? Now that I have this completely finished, I can come up here and I'm going to replace this one. All right, so here we go. That's all replaced. And I'm going to still do the selected value from the student right there. Beautiful. I'll come up here, uncomment these puppies, get rid of this one, and now life looks pretty good. Okay, let's make a few more modifications here. I'm not going to read this one. I will read it, but I'm going to take this out. Okay, we'll keep that there. And down here, I have one more piece of information. We're going to have a little loop going on here. And because now I'm on a loop, because I can have multiple members in my result set, right? Multiple rows in my result set. So I'm going to replace this with this. I think that all looks pretty good. I'll uncomment this now. And there you go. Okay, pretty cool. I think that all looks pretty good. I'm going to clear, read, and go from there. And it's going to show my course number, course name, start date, and first name and last name from my from my instructor. See how I did that? So this is it's joining a lot of stuff. So it's gotten a little bit heavy all of a sudden, but it's not that big a deal. Just take your time, walk through it, make sure your string looks good. Let's go ahead and start this and see if it works, or see if I made any bonehead mistakes. I do have build errors. I don't want to have a build error. I have a build error right there. That's cool. Let's see, what's it telling me? Oh, I forgot to concatenate that. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will fix that, and I just did. We'll run it again. And look at that. Kind of neat, huh? James Jones looks like he's taken .NET 1 in math. We know that's a fact. Let's see what Smith has done. Or Hernandez. Hernandez has taken 3 classes. Smith has taken 1 class. Kim has not taken any classes yet. He needs to get on the ball here. There's Jones again. Look how that all works. People, now we're starting to see information, dynamic information on our in our applications. This is truly starting to look like a database application. We got a long way to go and a lot of cool things to cover still, but this is a great first step. Let's see if you can handle this, let's see if you can try it, play around, see what sticks, have some fun with it. But I hope you get excited when you're seeing how we're collaborating with a database in our application and showing some work and showing some cool information to our users. All right, give it a try.